and then maybe freeze it, so I don't have to undergo this process ever again. But I would still like to go the traditional route and not in vitro fertilization. I like the old school way. It's very enjoyable. Welcome to Vigorous PEDs. I'm Coach Steve. Can you stay on anabolic-androgenic steroids indefinitely? And in this video, we'll just discuss traditional testosterone replacement therapy or hormone replacement therapy. Because in those therapy protocols, anabolic-androgenic steroids are used, of course, because testosterone is anabolic and androgenic, and it's a steroid. Even though it might not be as anabolic or as androgenic as some of the other steroids or performance-enhancing drugs we can choose from. So in this video, we'll just discuss testosterone as part of a TRT or HRT protocol, that being anywhere between 100 milligrams testosterone per week as part of a traditional TRT, or a generous hormone replacement for bodybuilders with 1 milligram testosterone per 1 pound of body weight, or 2 milligrams testosterone per 1 kilo of body weight at 10% body fat. So in my case right now, even though I'm off cycle, I'm about 210 pounds or 95 kilos. That will be about 200 milligrams of testosterone per week, or 1 milliliter of test sip per week, which is 200 milligrams per 1 milliliter. Okay, now the difference between testosterone replacement and hormone replacement is that in TRT, you're just adding testosterone exogenously, and in hormone replacement, we're adding basically everything else also. So that will be a growth hormone, for example, at 1 to 2 units per day. That will be hormone replacement. 3 units per day would probably be a little bit generous on top of your hormone replacement, because most people produce, when they're at early ages, about 1 unit to 2 units of growth hormone per day. And that will decline with age, of course, because the older you get, the less growth hormone secretion you will see, resulting in less IGF-1 secretion as well. And of course, testosterone concentrations also decline with age. So with hormone replacement or testosterone replacement, ideally you keep it at the top of the reference range. Some guys go a little bit higher. Again, we're being generous as bodybuilders, so we go over the reference range. But you're definitely higher than the reference range, which is otherwise represented of your age. Now, with HRT, you can consider ACG, HMG, or DHEA and pregnenolone. And then, when you start adding in the Proviron and the Cialis and the, other performance-enhancing drugs, it's not really HRT anymore, because Cialis and Proviron are, of course, not bioidentical. And, when you say you're on hormone replacement, you're insinuating that you're on bioidentical hormones only. So that's testosterone, ACG, even though it's only found in trace amounts in humans or in males. It's found in very high concentrations in pregnant women, but in men, it's only trace amounts unless you have pituitary cancer, then it might be higher. So that's why it's considered a cancer marker. That's why I prefer HMG, which contains bioidentical luteinizing hormone and follicle-stimulating hormone for testicular function, over ACG therapy, not treatment, therapy. Okay, so that's the difference between TRT and HRT. HRT is a little bit more complicated and adds more hormones on top of your testosterone base. Again, Cialis, Proviron, a lot of other compounds, Ostarine, Primo. People make their HRT a little bit too exciting. So how long can we stay on traditional TRT or HRT with bioidentical hormones? Can we stay on those indefinitely? Well, I believe that you can, considering you're staying somewhere close to the established reference ranges, because those established reference ranges are there to keep you healthy. And again, health is expressed over 60 years, 70 years, 80 years, maybe even 100 years. My grandmother lived up to 98 years. Now, she was not on hormone replacement. My grandfather is right now 92 years old. He is not on hormone replacement. But I feel that at least until advanced age, you're tapering down your dosages so it's not too supra-physiological, you should be able to stay on, some sort of hormone replacement well into your very advanced stages of age, because testosterone deficiency in men has been shown to be deleterious to health. So a traditional hormone replacement of, let's say, 100 milligrams testosterone per week, or even 50 milligrams testosterone per week, alongside a reasonably higher dose of pregnenolone and DHEA to supplement the neurosteroids on top, because as you age, neurosteroid production does go down. So that's why you see in elderly people that they prescribe maybe 50 to 100 milligrams of pregnenolone and 100 milligrams to 200 milligrams of DHEA per day, just to keep their neurosteroids in a good balance and promote cognition and well-being and memory formation at advanced stages of age. So in those, you look at it this way. You can keep your testosterone reasonably high, top of the reference range or over the reference range, ideally in a range that you feel comfortable in and doesn't have a negative deleterious effect on your lipids, your all the other health markers, basically, because again, testosterone can change so many different health markers. So ideally you use the lowest effective dose where you feel good and you don't have so much negative changes on your blood work, because again, we're looking for the most sustainable route in this scenario, because we're trying to run testosterone indefinitely, right? So you're staying on the most effective dose with the least amount of side effects. But as you age, those side effects, those dose-dependent side effects, that ratio will start to skew. So you would need to lower your testosterone dose as you age from maybe 250 milligrams per week to 150 to 100 to 50 milligrams. And perhaps increase your neurosteroids, DHEA and pregnenolone, as you age. So those can go up because the HPAA, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, will slowly downregulate with age, as well as the functioning of the hypothalamic pituitary testes axis, which also declines with age. But when you look at the HPAA functioning and the HPTA functioning, I feel that based on the reference ranges, or the decline of reference ranges based on advanced stages of age, I feel that HPAA downregulates more or ceases to function more compared to the HPTA. So supplementation of the HPAA needs to go up, because even though you're downregulating HPTA with exogenous testosterone, the HPAA doesn't really downregulate and still produces DHEA and pregnenolone, even though you're taking exogenous testosterone. It's just not at optimal levels. But as you age, this DHEA and pregnenolone production decreases significantly. So the supplementation of DHEA and pregnenolone, or perhaps HMG or ACG, which might not even be helpful at advanced stages of age, but DHEA and pregnenolone intake should definitely increase to sustain neurosteroid concentrations within its favorable ranges, to maintain cognition, well-being, and memory formation. So if you do it like this and you micromanage all these variables, I feel that you can stay on exogenous hormones, testosterone, DHEA, pregnenolone, pretty much indefinitely until there's a negative health ramification and you need to come off. Now, if you do decide to come off exogenous testosterone at an advanced age, it might still be beneficial to continue with DHEA and pregnenolone supplementation, because of course pregnenolone and DHEA will help to sustain testosterone concentrations and estradiol concentrations, which is still very favorable. So even though you might take a significantly higher dose just to get somewhat of a, respectable testosterone or estradiol concentration, it will still be favorable to continue with those hormones at an advanced age, because studies have shown that those two hormones, those neurosteroids, are completely side effect free and will only have positive effect, given that the dosages aren't extremely high. But testosterone, at one point, you might have to discontinue it, and you can sustain somewhat testosterone and estradiol concentrations when you supplement the neurosteroids in. Now, when you're not at an advanced age yet, maybe you want to come off exogenous testosterone for fertility purposes. Again, not everybody experiences reduced fertility on cycle, and I believe there's several studies out there that show that not 100% of the subjects underwent azoospermia, which means impaired fertility or cessation of semen production within testicles. It doesn't happen for everybody, but if it happens for you and you would like not to have any epigenetic changes to your semen quality, like, what I don't want when I'm ready to conceive children, in those cases, you would want to come off cycle and just go do your PCT and, do everything properly and then wait at least 90 days for the best possible sperm quality, because the fertility drugs used during PCT might have an effect on your overall semen quality as well. So I would prefer personally, and most of the clients or people that I talk to, you do your PCT and you wait at least 90 days before you start conceiving. So that's a lengthy process. Considering you are on generous hormone replacement of 250 milligrams a test, maybe even a little bit higher if you're a higher body weight. Cleaning out the testosterone might take 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the ester and the carrier oil that you were using. Then you need to do your ACG and or HMG and your Clomid and Olvidex treatments, and now we're a couple months down the line. So it's probably a 6-month process before you can start conceiving after discontinuing the hormones temporarily. Now, during this period, you won't feel 100%. I will vouch for that. I don't feel 100%, but I feel good enough to continue with this protocol. So what I will do is probably stay off for a prolonged period of time and then do my fertility check to see how my fertility is without any exogenous performance enhancing drug in my system. And then maybe freeze it, so I don't have to undergo this process ever again. But I would still like to go the traditional route and not in vitro fertilization. I like the old school way. It's very enjoyable. Let's just put it that way. So that's one scenario where you might want to come off exogenous hormones temporarily, just to have the best possible semen quality you can have without any fertility drugs or exogenous testosterone or neurosteroids or wherever you add it on top of your hormone replacement. So you go 100% natty temporarily. Now, another scenario where you might need to come off is when you have a negative health ramification, whether that comes from a poor diet model, a poor exercise practices, or, higher than hormone replacement, hormonal intake, or a wide variety of hormones or peptides or whatever performance enhancing drugs or recreational drugs you're experimenting with. Maybe you get a negative health ramification and it's time to come off to resolve that negative health ramification before you decide to take exogenous hormones again. So in my case, I was diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I will link the NAFLD and PCT video series right here so you guys can watch that video series in case you're not up to speed and why I decided to resolve my NAFLD by going off cycle. So let's say you were diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Some people will say it's better to stay on hormone replacement. Some people say it's better to come off hormone replacement and resolve this issue without any exogenous hormones. I was able to resolve it, or I'm pretty close to resolving this issue by doing a post-cycle therapy. But some people might want to stay on hormone replacement and resolve that non-alcoholic fatty liver disease on exogenous testosterone that maintains their serum concentrations around the top of the reference range. Now, in other cases, like, for example, kidney stress or certain kinds of cancer, I believe that in particular kinds of cancer, they prescribe hormone replacement. And in other kinds of cancer, hormone replacement is generally not recommended. Prostate cancer, for example, in those cases, they might use triptorelin at significantly high dosages just to bring your testosterone and your dihydrotestosterone and your estradiol to the absolute freaking zero in order to prevent the progression of prostate cancer. But I believe there are other kinds of cancers where they actually prescribe a little bit of hormone replacement because it was shown to be beneficial. So depending on the illness that you developed and how you developed this illness, it might be required to get off hormone replacement temporarily until this condition is resolved. But I feel that if you stay healthy along the way and you manage your hormonal intake dependent on your age and your blood work markers and, your overall health, and maybe you take metformin in the meantime, when you want to transition into anti-aging, when you start to look older than your age. So let's say you look younger than you really are. Metformin is probably not required to reduce your serum IGF-1 concentrations to promote longevity, well-being, and everything else that's associated with low serum IGF-1 concentrations. So let's say you don't look your age yet, and you start to look progressively older, whether that's from recreational drugs or performance-enhancing drugs or a poor diet model. Again, maybe in that case, metformin might be beneficial. Now, combining metformin with alcohol or recreational drugs is definitely not advised. You should do the research by yourself on why that is not advised. But with exogenous testosterone as part of a traditional TRT or hormone replacement therapy protocol, metformin, when you start to look a little bit older, it might be beneficial to keep you more youthful and promote anti-aging. So that might be a suitable goodie on top. Even though it's not a bioidentical hormone, it has its merits. So when you consider all those variables and you're controlling your blood work and you're doing everything you can to stay in the best possible state of health, I feel that you can run moderate dosages of exogenous testosterone, DHEA pregnenolone, indefinitely. And I really hope that helps. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're looking for the most comprehensive guides to bodybuilding pharmacology, you can find those ebooks on my website, VigorousSteve.com/shop. The rates to my services for personalized advice you can find there as well in the services section. Contact me through the contact form if you're interested in one of those services. Follow me on Instagram at VigorousSteve so I can get the same amount of followers there as I do the amount of subscribers that I have on YouTube. The YouTube algorithm for growth is definitely superior than the Instagram algorithm. So I would highly appreciate a follow there as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Vigorous crew, highly appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video.